Good evening, good morning, good noon, good night, whatever. Who the fuck cares? It's episode 46 of the Shut Your Mouth Lounge. I'm Alex. I got with me here Addy, who has got a shit
Hey,
ton of fucking echo going on of me.
do I?
Yeah, I can hear me. Speaking
Oh
through
shit,
you.
that will over you.
And Pink is here.
Hey there.
And today we're going to aim for a shorter
Okay.
podcast.
I guess that's what that echo reduction does.
Yeah, yeah, now I'm not getting it. So whatever you did, it worked.
No, I just lowered your volume coming out of my speakers or my headphones.
Alright. So, the first topic today, that whole thing with PlayStation where it turned out people through sending the right, string of text through friend requests and personal private messages could turn your fucking PS4 off and make it where there's only a couple ways to save it. Otherwise it would be bricked. So that's some fucking crazy shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
I have
Scary
to
think
wonder...
about.
what were you saying, Pink?
It's scary to think about. Like just a little string of messaging sent through a friend request can potentially break a console.
Yeah, I think it does raise a lot of fucking questions about how Sony handles things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because supposedly Sony just plain has terrible security on their stuff.
Remember when their PlayStation online services or whatnot shut down or were shut down
For a whole
back
month?
in 2011 or whatever?
Yeah, for like a whole month.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't... For someone like me who doesn't know technology very well, it's amazing to me that that somehow putting it in a fucking message does it. Because I would think that the PlayStation would know to associate whatever's in the message as something that just gets directly ported or something, but I don't know. I'm not an expert. I don't know anything, really. But it's still like, holy shit. So, Addy, did you turn off friend requests and private messaging during that whole thing?
No, for one, I don't play online. For two, I turned it off when I made my account. So,
I mean, even if you didn't play online, people were still just sending it out to whatever random people they could find, trying to brick as many consoles as they could.
but yeah, no, I'm pretty sure I have it turned off ever since I made my account, but I can check.
I didn't before, but I had to turn it off then. I'll probably set friend requests back on, but private messaging.
I won't.
I'll leave private messaging on friends only because that'll at least get rid of the fucking private messages from Lonely Girl 116 or whatever,
Yeah.
which are really obnoxious on PlayStation, much worse than they were on Xbox. It's weird.
I haven't gotten anything on Xbox. So I'm quite the fortunate soul.
They
Of course,
just
if you see a name like mine, you probably think I'm the one sending messages like that.
But yeah, that's a fucking train wreck there. A little bit of Fallout news, so for once something that all three of us can talk about. Obsidian, on their Twitter, of all fucking things, it's weird to say that people are announcing things through Twitter, have said that it's very doubtful they will work on a Fallout game ever again.
Right. Wasn't Obsidian just bought by somebody recently?
It was very solidly rumored that Microsoft was looking into buying them, but I don't think it was officially announced if they did or not.
Right. So, not much to say there, I don't think. Did anyone think that Oblivion would ever get their hands on Fallout again?
Obsidian.
No.
Obsidian, yes, not Oblivion. That's the Bethesda part.
Yeah.
That's the bad part.
Yeah. Well, I think we all kind of hoped that someday we would see another good Fallout game, but...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think all three of us here, I'm pretty sure, we're much bigger fans of New Vegas than we were of 3.
Or 4.
Or 4, but
That goes
I'm not
without saying.
including 4 in part of that Fallout category because it's a drastically different game and everybody hates it.
Yeah. It was easy to see with Fallout 4, like, this is the new direction. This is where Bethesda wants it to go. Because, I mean,
Right.
if you pay attention, like, looking over at Elder Scrolls, like, Elder Scrolls, Morrowind to Oblivion to Skyrim, each game has been progressively more simplistic and gotten rid of more and more RPG elements and more choice elements.
Right.
Which is, no doubt, their inevitable plan with Fallout as well. Because they got rid of choices, they made it where you have the 4-option dialogue wheel, and all 4 mean the same thing.
Yeah.
And they fucking got rid of the RPG elements, and instead it's just kind of a shooter with builder elements. Oh, and you
Right.
get a stat that slightly varies the damage on your gun, but not really.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've talked before about how much we fucking hate Fallout 4. But I'm curious what what Obsidian will be working on, because they've made the 2 South Park games. I suppose they could work on a 3rd one and try to complete the trilogy if they wanted to. But what
if they wanted to, or if the South Park people wanted them to.
Yeah, I'm sure either way, yeah. You can never predict with the South Park people.
Yep.
Other than that, I don't know what Obsidian's been working on. Like, they've probably been working on a shit ton of PC RPGs, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, wasn't there a rumor or whatever that Disney is gonna drop EA from the Star Wars license?
Yeah, that was a rumor shooting around for a little bit, but I feel like it was mostly foundationless. Because I mean,
Oh,
I think Battlefront 2 sold terribly, but I think at the same time EA would know to back off for that on Battlefront 3.
Right.
Because I mean, EA wants money, but EA isn't stupid, and EA isn't the devil properly.
properly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, are you saying that you want Disney to pick up Obsidian, Addy?
No.
Are you, like, hoping this is where Kingdom Hearts will go?
Yes.
Where it's like Fallout New Vegas, but instead it's Disney?
Yes. It's Fallout New Vegas, but you shoot like small Mickey Mouses.
Are you shooting at Mickey Mouses, or are you shooting Mickey Mouses out of your gun?
Yes.
I knew you would fucking answer that with yes. Fucking hell. I mean, this kind of sucks for all 3 of us, because I think all 3 of us did love New Vegas, but I think at the same time all 3 of us are kind of not really into janky top-down PC RPGs, which
Yeah.
Obsidian very much is. Obsidian loved Baldur's Gate so much they've just kept making it. It takes another publisher has to motivate them to actually make a game that actually moves forward. In the complete opposite direction, of course, there's BioWare, who moved way too fucking fast. Now they're moving.
Which one's BioWare? What did they work on?
Mass Effect, Dragon Age.
Ah.
Yeah, now they're working on Anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they went the same direction as Bethesda. Hey, let's get rid of all the RPG shit and just make something else. But we'll still call it an RPG.
Yeah.
At least they still give you choices. Alright, now on to the inevitable tirade of fucking comic book news. So, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, apparently the production might have been pushed all the way back to 2021.
Yeah, this is what I was afraid of.
Which, if the production has been pushed all the way back to then that means that the actual movie wouldn't fucking come out until like 2022, 2023, 2024.
Yeah.
Which, boy, will that take the entirety of the wind out of this Guardians of the Galaxy franchise's sales, you know?
Yeah. Gosh darn it, Gunn.
I mean, if they are sticking with the thing of where, since Gunn left, Batista's gonna leave for DC, then, like, at this point, they might as well, like, Guardians 3 not even use the old team.
May as well.
Yeah, they might as well keep Gamora and Drax dead and figure out something else to do with the other guys.
Yeah. Just scrap some of the elements they've got and start fresh.
It
really sucks because I do feel that Guardians was one of the stronger elements that Marvel had, and to have to break that down so early and basically start over again, it really sucks.
It does, but I feel like it was an inevitability that at least one of the major Marvel franchises was going to have to crash and burn, because that's just how Hollywood is.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought Iron Man already did that though with the third installment.
well, it was bad, but it wasn't like the fucking development fucked up on itself. Like, no backstage fuckery caused anything in Iron Man, you know?
Right.
Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy had more behind the scenes drama, and that's what fucked it up.
Right.
And with Hollywood and all the people that are in there, you know, that's just kind of inevitable that when you've got this big multi-franchise of several smaller franchises, at least one of the franchises is going to deal with fucking crazy people backstage and people, you know, whatever.
Right.
We could get into the whole thing of James Gunn and Dave Bautista and whether what they're doing is justified, but we'd rather not. At least partially because people have already talked that to death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but I eagerly await to see how Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 pulls out.
I'm interested to see if they... Well, I mean, dude, honest, I was like, I'm interested to see if they bring back the classic Guardians of the Galaxy. And I'm like, oh, wait, they already fucking did. I forgot, like, Steven Spielberg. Yeah, Steven Spielberg's there. Fuck me. Sylvester Stallone.
Wouldn't that be a cameo?
Steven Spielberg, the best Guardian of the Galaxy.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone and Ving Rhames and all those guys, which odds are they're probably not going to do anything with those characters, even though they introduced them at the end of 2.
Yeah, probably not.
Which may be a blessing in disguise, because I think one of them was Miley Cyrus, but still.
No.
What?
The robot was Miley Cyrus. Did you not notice that?
I never watched Wall 2.
Okay, so there's a classic Guardians of the Galaxy team in the comics that finally got assembled at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And it's Sylvester Stallone, Ving Rhames, Michelle Yeoh, help me here, Addie Pink, the guy that played Lex Luthor in Smallville. Rose something.
Discount Luthor, yes. And then...
Michael Rosenbaum.
Yes.
And
that's it.
And there was one last bug guy that wasn't voiced by anyone. But, like, it was the weirdest fucking thing, because it was just a completely randomly thrown together group of celebrity cameos. What is this, Deadpool 2? So moving on to a little bit more of an interesting bit of comic book news. Somebody asked Bryan Cranston in an interview, apparently, about the idea of him playing Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies, even though it's already being played by J.K. Simmons. Go figure. And apparently,
yeah.
Let me bring up the fucking page here so I can get the direct quotation. So Bryan Cranston was asked that. He said, he says he didn't want to do a character that's been done several times before. He said he didn't want to be compared to previous Commissioner Gordons. And he said he wanted to play a villain that's a fraction smarter than the hero, never dumbed down to give the hero an easy win. The fucking interviewer mentioned Mr. Sinister, and Bryan Cranston said, actually, that's exactly who I was thinking about. So...
He probably didn't think of anyone, in reality.
Yeah, he's just like, yeah, sure, why not?
At the same time, though, could you imagine if they bring Bryan Cranston as Mr. Sinister in as the Disney X-Men villain?
As the Disney X-Men villain, I'd probably be fine with it.
I mean, obviously none of us are going to be happy with anything Fox does, but, you know. But I'm curious, like, I'm mostly curious there because Mr. Sinister is a character that I have no investment in whatsoever. I have never read a single comic he was in. I've never watched a single movie he was in. Never played a single video game he was in. I have had no exposure to the character whatsoever. He's one of those guys that always gets mentioned as one of the classic X-Men villains, and he actually does nothing. He doesn't show up in anything, you know?
Right.
So I have no idea what makes him the big villain, what his motivation is, any of that shit. All I know is, wasn't he the guy that was supposed to have bred Cable or raised him or something?
Something like that, I think. I don't know. I don't know if that was Mr. Sinister, to be honest. But yeah, he does tie very closely with Cyclops and Jean Grey and whatnot. I'm pretty sure he's the one who cloned Jean Grey and made Madeline Pryor. the Goblin Queen. So I think that's how he ties into all of that.
Right. Okay, it wasn't Cable, because Cable wasn't even in the Age of Apocalypse timeline. It was... Bishop was in the Age of Apocalypse timeline, but I don't think he was related.
Nope.
It was Bishop that was in the Age of Apocalypse timeline, right?
Right.
Right, yeah. And he was one of the only, like, 5 people to survive the destruction of it.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, I'd love to see Bryan Cranston do a supervillain role in general, honestly, because he's one of the last big actors that hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even fucking Robert De Niro's gonna be doing a fucking superhero role soon, because apparently he's got second billing still on that Joker movie, which I completely forgot about.
Ha.
Yeah. And the last bit of comic book news, and this ties into last week's topics of Iron Fist getting canceled, Luke Cage has been canceled by Netflix.
See, they canceled Iron Fist first, and then they canceled Luke Cage. This is basically what the comics are doing. They're going to come back as Power Man and Iron Fist.
I was about to say, either it's coming back as Power Man and Iron Fist. I'm going to raise a more likely suggestion. Because Disney confirmed that they'd be moving as much stuff to their streaming service as possible. I think it's just that Netflix is going around and canceling all their Disney shows.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
They started with Iron Fist because Iron Fist was the most unpopular, so they knew that one they could get away with. And they're going to be moving up the ladder.
Right.
I think Daredevil will get hit next, because I think Jessica Jones is the one they could get in the most trouble for canceling at this point, you know? Especially...
Well, yeah, they have to cancel the White Man's show first.
Yeah.
We've already gotten rid of all the other minorities. We'll save Jessica Jones for last.
Then we'll hit the gender minorities. And also Daredevil
don't hinder gender.
Daredevil just had his 3rd season, which I believe is supposed to be his Born Again arc, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and I heard they introduced Bullseye, and Bullseye's supposed to be really good in it.
I hope so.
Yeah, Bullseye's one of the only redeemable things about the Daredevil character, so he better be. And Punisher will probably be the one that takes the longest to cancel because they're still working on Season 2. So they'll probably just announce Season 2, and they'll probably release Season 2, and then the very next day say it's canceled.
Yeah.
And chances are Disney will, since I think this stuff is all produced by ABC, actually, which of course ABC is a part of Disney, so no doubt once the Disney streaming service actually launches, they'll probably pick these shows back up.
Right.
We'll probably see Power Man and Iron Fist, and we'll probably see the Daughters of the Dragon series kick on, you know?
Yes.
But it does put the Iron Fist thing in a different light, though. Because when we talked about it last week, I was like, oh, well, the show was so terrible, they just canned it. No, it wasn't for that. It's just because Disney fucking wants to keep it to themselves.
Right.
Which, I mean, makes a lot of sense. And then if we move down the list, we can see where Addy posted a fucking Twitter bit of a lizard man with a penis in Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, so apparently this made news, this made some news at least, that there's a bug or something that people are exploiting in Soul Calibur 6 where they're making lizard man with lizard man-sized penises.
I'd say it's more than that. I'd say it's more size than that. It's unfeasibly large.
No, I mean it's as big as the person themselves.
Oh yeah, it's roughly that size. And then they use the Voldo.
Yeah,
they use the Voldo moveset though, which I love.
Who's to say that Lizard Man's wiener isn't that large anyway?
Well, I mean, when he does wear clothes, they tend not to have that much crotch space, or else we'd have noticed beforehand. Oh, hey, imagine that in Soul Calibur 2 or whichever game introduced Lizard Man. Like, hey, what's Lizard Man got dangling? Oh God.
That's not a tail. That's not a tail at all.
It's a tail, but it's on the wrong side.
He's got 2 tails, one on the front, one on the back.
And he can and he can rotate both at the same time to get some speed.
The thing that gets me is them using the Voldo moveset so that he can do uppercuts with his dick. Was anyone ever actually able to use that move with Voldo in the games? The fucking up thrust?
Probably not.
I was never able to connect it, that's for sure. But
I was never all that good with Voldo. I did enjoy rolling around as him, though.
Yeah. I don't think there's many people in the world who are good with Voldo.
Oh, there's somebody out there. There's some pro out there who can do everything perfectly.
Oh, I'm sure there is. It's a fighting game. Every fighting game character's got a pro, but... Oh, a little bit of comic book news that I couldn't find a good link properly describing. I just wanted to mention it to Pink. But you hear about this new series Marvel's working on, this new miniseries, The Life of Captain Marvel or whatever?
I did not hear about that.
Basically, they're retconning Carol's origins. So
Into what? What are they doing now?
So it turns out she no longer was she taking Marvel's powers. No longer did she get Marvel's powers from that Kree device. It turns out secretly her mom was a Kree the entire time, and that's where she gets her powers from.
So she's Star-Lord?
She's not. Star-Lord doesn't get any powers though. At least not anymore.
Not anymore.
And apparently some people are angry about that because it severs her origin connection to Marvel more or less entirely. And I forget what else there was. Oh, her dad was an abusive alcoholic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently now it's revealed he was an abusive alcoholic because he was scared that some people would find out his wife's an alien.
Oh.
Yeah, a lot of people...
I don't... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, this seems like something that really sucks for people that are fans of Carol, but I think both you and me are in the position of, like, we never were that invested to begin with.
Yeah, I don't see how changing Carol's quote-unquote origin story really hinders her in any way. It's not a plus or a minus to her. It's just sort of a change that is made and is now official, and I don't care either way. Her first origin story, not anything to write home about. Her new origin story, still not anything to write home about. It's what the character does now in the present that really determines whether I enjoy it or not.
Well, I think...
Like, if you were to go back and change Spider-Man's origin story, if you were to retcon that, yeah, people should rightfully be mad. But Carol's origin, not so much.
Well, they did retcon Spider-Man's origin story 10 years ago.
Come from a dying planet. She wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider. She was blown up by some Kree device and got Kree powers that way.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, I don't see how it's really all that relevant.
I'm seeing outrage about it anyways, though, so, you know. But
gosh darn it, did I disconnect?
No. No, we can still hear you. Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us. Fuck.
Nope, he can't. Shit.
Hang on, I'm typing.
Well, I can't hear you.
Well,
okay, can you hear us now?
I can now.
All right, wonderful.
Discord, why? Why are you always so terrible with me?
It's still better than Skype somehow.
Somehow.
You do not want to know the fucking problems we had with Skype back in the day. It never fucking cooperated with us.
Yeah, I was only there for like 2 Skype sessions, and then we quickly switched over to Discord.
Yeah.
At least it's for the most part only on my end. I don't recall any instances of you guys like dropping out or anything.
I think Addie's had it happen once or twice, but for me, yeah, I've not had it happen.
No, the problems that I had were hardware issues. So.
Oh right, your shitty little laptop.
Yeah, there might be some sort of setting on my computer that's bugging out with it, so I'll have to check on it sometime. I just always forget after we're done recording because then it's no longer relevant.
Yep, that's always how it is. Oh, I'll fix this later, and then
and then later comes, and then it's too late.
Next week, all right, I'll fix this later. Next week, I'll fix this later.
This reminds me. This is the exact schedule of my uploading. We have 10 episodes that I have yet to upload of things that we recorded. They are not getting uploaded today. Okay, they might be getting uploaded today. I don't know.
All 10 of them?
No, 5 of them.
What do we have on the back burner? Well, I guess we'll get to that later. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right. And the thing I just wanted to note, though, I bet you anything, Pink. I bet you when you watch the movie, that's her fucking origin there, that her mom was a Kree.
Probably.
Because I bet you anything, the writer didn't read a fucking Captain Marvel comic and just wrote up the story they wanted and got the Cliff Notes, right?
Yeah.
And they probably saw the thing
Probably.
with Marvel, and they're like, oh, she takes Marvel's powers. Well, that's not very empowering. And rewrote it so that her mom was a Kree and all that. And now the comics, in typical fashion, the comics are forced to catch up.
Yeah.
In the same way that a couple fucking years ago they had to make an entire event to justify why Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver weren't Magneto's kids anymore.
Now they don't know what they are.
Yeah. Oh, God. Fuck me. Alright, whatever. Hey, what we got coming out on the channel, Addy? I say that, but I know what we... Alright, what have you got uploading right now, Addy, that will probably be put up on the channel momentarily?
Tell me, because I have no idea what's coming out.
Right now, literally nothing, just so my voice can not die.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But yeah, I'm gonna be uploading Dead Space, so that's gonna be coming out.
Dead Space, yes, we have made progress in Dead Space after a long fucking time of no Dead Space. And on my end, there are still a couple episodes of Scribblenauts I've got backed up there in case we need them. I'll shoot them up if I feel like, you know, they fit into the schedule appropriately. We've got another Halloween special coming this week. We've got not a whole lot on my end. We're going to definitely try and get some BioShock done, but my schedule has been hectic as all fuck. So it's difficult to say. But yeah, more of the same. Mostly, we've got a couple special things recorded, but I don't know when they'll go up, because right now we're prioritizing the long-running series. Oh, of course, we've got a good couple more Terraria episodes coming up. We have, in fact, finished recording Terraria, so within the next couple of weeks, you guys will probably see the end of it. Thank God.
Yeah, we kicked Moonlord's ass.
Yeah.
In 2 seconds. He killed himself.
Yeah.
He shot himself with his own laser.
He spawned and then died immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought Pablo could have carried the team so hard?
Who would have thought that the Pablo engine would have spawned enough Pablos to overrun Moonlord?
Overrun the entire Terraria country.
Yeah.
We had to nuke the place to free it from the Pablo plague. Alright. Addy, what have you done in the past week?
Jack shit.
Alright, cool. Pink, what have you done in the past week?
Same answer as him, I think.
Alright, Alex, what have you done in the past week? Well, thank you, me. I've played a lot of Devil May Cry 4, because I'm still trying to get through hard mode. Well, I wouldn't say a lot. I played a little, because, like I said, been busy with so many fucking things. Obviously, we've been spending a lot of crunch time trying to fucking get Terraria done. Like, I think that took up the majority of our weeks.
Yeah.
Outside of the
if
obvious...
I wasn't working either at work or at home, I was probably playing Terraria with you guys.
Yep, thank fucking God it's over.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's difficult for me to think of things I've actually done to pass the time here. Technically, I was supposed to have had a fall break from college. By that, here's the thing. I only attend 2 classes in person. One had us attend anyways. Only one of us actually took the fall break. My other classes are online, and they gave me work anyways. And one of the classes was coming to an end, so they had all the big tests at the end. So I had the opposite of a fall break. It was actually harder. And that was supposed
all crunch.
That was supposed to be my relaxation time, so now it's back to regular crunch. So effectively, fuck my life. And after we record this and record something else afterwards, I'm gonna have to get into super crunch mode because another fucking class of mine just started up and it's really poorly run. And it now turns out that there's a shit ton of work I need to do right fucking now. And evidently there's something I need to buy that I was warned improperly of. Fuck me. But yeah, I'm gonna keep fucking dragging this out for a little bit because we're currently only roughly at 30 minutes. I'd like to at least get this up to 45.
You wanted a short podcast. A short podcast it is.
We can talk about the stuff that we did play this weekend.
Yes, we did play Conan Exiles. which there you guys will see probably hopefully a little bit, assuming that the recording doesn't eat itself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We'll see.
yeah.
We'll see how much Cthulhu nuked the Conan recording as well.
Yeah. A Cthulhu nuked everything.
Yeah.
That was fucking great. That was the best part of it. That game is so fucking bad. It's so fucking broken and janky.
Yeah, I enjoyed the building and I enjoyed the, just the amount of small things that you could add. But aside from that, there was not much else.
That is the kind of game that should have never been ported to console. Because that is the kind of game that was built to either be like, it should be on PC, so that if you have a computer that isn't a massive fucking rig, you can set the graphics down to nothing, so that you can actually render everything that's going on. Or if you've got some crazy beefy $2,000 rig, then you can play it for all it's worth. But either way, it wasn't meant to come to console. Because if it gets ported to console, they either had to choose between having shitty graphics or having it where you couldn't enjoy all the game's features and had shitty frame rate, and they chose the latter option. So the textures looked real good, but the frame rate was ass. And one of the big fucking features, the avatars, one of the things was you're supposed to be able to have at least 2 avatars on screen at one point at the same time, as shown in one of the fucking screenshots used to advertise the game. But guess what? On console, you fucking can't. At least not consistently, because sometimes it just loads you it just sends you to a loading screen and deletes the avatar you were using.
Yeah, I don't think we ever had a point where we had 2 avatars on the screen at the same time.
We did for a little bit. Once, when Addy had his Durketto and I had the Yogg in the desert for a little bit. And I think it only allowed us to have both at the same time because we were so fucking far from the house. So the house wasn't taking up proper processing power. And all the NPCs.
Right.
And then there was also the part where I was nearly ran out of my summons, so like it just assumed that it can spawn you in already, and then I'll just despawn.
Yep. It's real fun. The frame rate was killing me, especially near the end. Once we started putting the NPCs in and we got a bigger house, like my frame rate just fucking died. I don't know about you guys.
Oh yeah, it was pretty terrible.
And I watched a fucking video on PC of a guy building a massive fortress and filling it with all kinds of NPCs to guard the place and run the place, and it still had. Oh god, I'm getting the hiccups while I'm talking. Oh god, okay, and it was loaded to the fucking brim with NPCs and loot and shit and different furniture and all that shit and lighting, and it was still moving at like a solid 30 frames per second.
BRB.
So they just fucking made a shitty, bad fucking half-assed attempt at a port for the console box, I guess. I feel like this is one of those cases where they go way too ambitious on some of this shit just because they had to pay the amount of money to license Conan, right?
Right.
Also, yeah, some of the Conan stuff is not aged well. Yeah, I made the mistake of I made a black character just because I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll pick this race because Addy's probably gonna make an Asian dude and Pink's gonna make a white chick, so I'll make a black dude. And I went down the list and I was like, all right, I'll pick the god of death and fertility. And then Addy says, oh no, wait, I already picked that one. All right, well, someone here has to be a cannibal, and I don't think it's gonna be Pink, so I'll be the cannibal. And at that point, I was a little like, black cannibals may be a little bit stereotypical, but not really. I think we've ventured far enough that you don't automatically think that. I think nowadays, if you think of a cannibal, you probably think of Jeffrey Dahmer or Hannibal Lecter, who are both white dudes.
I don't know many black cannibals.
Yeah. It used to be an old stereotype, but it's thankfully mostly died off. And then I unlocked the fucking cannibal gear. And it was just, oof. And then I saw that the actual, in the NPC menu, the cannibal tribe all have to be the specific Darfari race, which is the black people equivalent of Conan. And woof. All right, yeah, Robert E. Howard wrote this back in the 30s. And he was friends with H.P. Lovecraft, who was also an infamous racist at the time. I think H.P. Lovecraft later swore off racism and said he was an idiot to believe in that shit when he was younger. I don't think Robert E. Howard ever did. I think Robert E. Howard put a fucking shotgun barrel in his mouth. So. I guess the power of Cthulhu got to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He saw the yellow sign or whatever.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm curious. As soon as Pink left yesterday, me and Addie both said, I have no idea what Pink was doing for the entirety of that game.
I don't know what I was doing either, to be quite honest. I was just smacking rocks and gathering stone.
Every time we do a fucking free roam game, we run into this. Like, me and Addie are like, oh, let's build this and this and this, and I'll figure out all this technology. And Pink's like, I'm gonna go get rocks.
Yeah, the thing is, Pink doesn't have a stereotype to fit into. Like, you try to make us stronger and, just push the thing forward. I build shit. And then there's Pink.
I'm just a happy nomad. I go where the wind takes me.
Except you couldn't go where the wind took you in that game because it fucking required the host to stay with you.
Right.
Fucking hell. Video games. That might be the most infuriating feat. I get why video games do it, where you can't go past the host, but fuck you. Far Cry 5 did the exact same thing when I played it in co-op with Soon, and it was just infuriating.
Yep.
In Far Cry,
we did what was it? What was that zombie game?
State of Decay. Oh, State of Decay. State of Decay was real bad about it.
Yeah.
State of Decay was real bad.
Yeah. The original State of Decay was an incredible game and suffered from its low budget, and then Microsoft picked them up, and I was like, oh, they'll finally get the budget they need. And
they'll have the budget to make something really great this time.
Unless Microsoft's just like...
the same game.
Yeah. And I feel like that's one of those games that a year from now or so, we'll hear one of the developers speak out about, oh yeah, Microsoft didn't give us any money whatsoever. They told us to make the same game again, but with co-op, so we did it. And that's what we got. State of Decay 1, but with co-op. And they slapped a 2 on the box.
Yep.
Alright, I'm trying to think of what else I've done. I watched Jacob's Ladder, which classic psychological horror film from 1990, was the primary inspiration behind Silent Hill, and has also inspired a shit ton of other horror things ever since. Though it wasn't very popular at its own time.
Like my streaming.
I'm sorry, what?
Like my streaming. It inspired my streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, inspired all your fucking recordings. Which, of course, Jacob's Ladder nowadays is mostly just famous for one particular effect, which, in our case, we will often refer to it as Jacob's Laddering. But for the effect of horror, they made it where the characters would, some of the monsters' heads would be rapidly spinning and fucking flickering all over the place. And I found out, actually, how they achieve that effect. They just record it at a really low frame rate, but then play it all really quickly at a high frame rate. Like, the camera records 4 frames a second, right? But then they play it at the proper 24 frames a second. And that's how they achieve that effect. And in video games, it doesn't really work like that. But, in video games, the effect usually is the game forgets where the character is supposed to be, so he just shoots all over the map. But yeah, Jacob's Ladder, pretty good movie. I kind of went in with bad expectations because I was going in expecting Silent Hill, the movie, and that isn't what I got. Now, there's really only 1 or 2 parts that are specifically Silent Hill-esque in terms of how everything is handled and how the monsters are handled. But it handles things with very much the themes of Silent Hill. Guilt and repression and, forgiveness and all that. It also talks about mortality a lot, which Silent Hill absolutely did not. It's a funny movie, though, because it's one of those movies where it's got a shit ton of people that were there before they were famous. So Tim Robbins is the star, and I feel like Tim Robbins already was kind of well known by then. I'm not an expert on him. Are either of you guys experts on Tim Robbins?
No.
I don't even know who that is.
Okay. Yeah, I have to Google him real quick.
Okay, you remember
what else has he played in?
You remember Shawshank Redemption, how there's Morgan Freeman and the white dude?
Yeah.
He was the white dude.
All right.
That's pretty much the easiest way to identify him. White dude from Shawshank. But he was also in the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie, I believe. He played, who was the villain of the Green Lantern movie?
Hector Hammond, probably?
Yes, he was Hector Hammond's father.
Whoever funded it.
I believe Hector Hammond's father, he played Hector Hammond's father, who was abusive, and that was supposed to be the motivation for why Hector Hammond became a supervillain. Yeah, bring up Green Lantern. That's always a good sign. But outside of Tim Robbins, it had like a lot of guys way before they were famous. It was in 1990, and it had Ving Rhames before Pulp Fiction. It had Jason Alexander before Seinfeld, and it had Macaulay Culkin before Home Alone. Yeah, it was all. Yeah, it's funny seeing Jason Alexander in any kind of serious role whatsoever. I mean, I've only ever seen him in Seinfeld, so he may have been doing a shit ton of serious films that I haven't been watching, but still. It's fucking, what's his name? George Costanza. It's George Costanza, who you expect to be the total loser, and he's like this ultra-serious scumbag lawyer. But very good horror movie, not very heavy on jump scares, which is the kind of thing I like. Makes a lot more use of like creepy imagery. The entire fucking hospital gurney scene is just absolutely incredible. I'll have to link you guys it once we're done with this podcast just so you can see it, because it's great in the best possible ways. There's only one jump scare I can remember in the entire movie, and it's probably the only time I've ever seen a movie use a jump scare for symbolism. Because legitimately what it is spoilers for Jacob's Ladder. For the rest of the podcast, if you want to watch Jacob's Ladder, just tune out now, because there's not going to be much left of the podcast afterwards. But Jacob's Ladder, his son is played by Macaulay Culkin, and his son is dead, has been dead for several years. And there's just a scene in the movie where Jacob gets out like a memory box full of like pictures of his son, and he's flashing back to good memories of like teaching his son how to ride a bike and all that. And then it just suddenly jump scare cuts to his son being hit by a bike, being hit while he's riding the bike, being hit by a car, and that's how he dies. And it was it was the only time I've ever seen a jump scare used for symbolism, because it's clearly supposed to symbolize how, while Jacob, in this case, was thinking of the positive memories of his son, all of the positive memories all suddenly came crashing down when he remembered his death.
Right.
And that's the only jump scare I will ever forgive a movie for using. Because it makes sense, actually. But, of course, the whole thing with Jacob's Ladder is, Jacob's Ladder, in this case, literally refers to the, I'm not an expert on Christianity. You guys have probably got far more Bible reading than me.
I doubt that.
Okay. But Jacob's Ladder, it's supposed to be the ladder to heaven, right? That Jacob finds.
Yeah.
And he sees, like, the Romans and the Egyptians trying to climb it, but they keep falling off.
Yeah, something like that.
And they're eternally trying to get to heaven and always failing, and that's just their suffering. So the entire movie of Jacob's Ladder is symbolizing, like, people who can't move on from, like, their lives and, accept death and move on. Because it turns out Jacob died in Vietnam. And this entire fucking movie has just been his dying dream.
Ah.
And it's legitimately, the monsters are all angels and demons trying to help him to move on past what's happened in his life and move on and accept that he's dying. It's a whole thing. It's a very good movie. I don't know if either of you guys will watch it, because neither of you guys are particularly big psychological horror fans like I am. But,
Right.
Alright, folks. I think we can call that a podcast at roughly 45 minutes to the exact fucking digit. Are you...
Oh, wow.
Are you guys feeling good about our shortest podcast ever?
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. 45 minutes. That's the shortest we've ever gone.
Yeah.
After the one that went on for like 6 hours.
Fucking yeah. Yeah, that's giving me flashbacks. Oh, God. Alrighty then. Say bye, Addy.
Bye.
Alright, folks. We will see you later.